As veterans, we struggle to fit in, taught to never let feelings win. Lost in a world full of fear and pain, we all have hung our heads in shame. When we look up, we see hands reaching out. There is so much support about it. Comes from above and others around. Please take a hand and rise from the ground. Stand up and fight for your life. Walk away from negativity. Don't give in to strife. Show up for yourself. Find your voice. Keep moving forward. You have a choice. Give compassion for the child inside. Healing pain, let hope reside. Lost you will no longer be. Then you can help set others free. Now speak up and with us share the tools that make pain easy to bear. Advocate for others to lighten their load. Use your voice and join our show. On Coffee Talk with Bryan and Marie, we heal out loud, PTSD to advocacy.
And what's going on, friends and family? Thank you guys so much for joining Bryan and Marie on another wonderful coffee talk. And today, it's just going to be the two of us. So you guys are just going to be blessed with the two of us.
Yay!
How are you doing, Marie? How are you doing today? How's recovery going?
This last week has been a lot easier. For those just joining us, I had a hysterectomy about 2.5 weeks ago, and the first week was miserable with some complications, but this last week has been really good. I actually felt good enough to go to church yesterday,
Oh, good.
so that was fun. Yeah.
And how's your husband doing?
He's doing good. He's doing
Good.
really good. He's visiting his parents right now and enjoying his trip. So
Good.
that's
Yeah,
good.
because I know you were saying he was kind of going through some health stuff and stuff
Yeah,
as well. So
yeah, we're still trying to figure everything out. For the most part, he's handling his healthcare stuff okay, better than what it was. But we're still in the not sure what's going to happen phases, with his different diagnoses. And so, same with me. We're just kind of playing things by ear right now, trying to stay positive and enjoying the time that we have, and kind of letting God run the show.
living in the present is a very big present that every one of us have in life. So, I
Yep.
think that's important. A lot of us, we stress about the future, worry about the past, and, sometimes forget like what's right in front of us. You know what I mean? There's, I don't read many books, but this one book I did read, it was called The Present. And what it was all about is living in the present, right? Because you can plan for the future all you want, but that doesn't necessarily mean that plan is going to happen, right? Because many of us know that life has a funny way of going about saying, "No, this is the plan for you," right? So we can plan all we want, which there's nothing wrong with planning, but sometimes plans are literally just plans that you would love to see happen, and we put a lot of effort in these future plans that never happen. And then sometimes we carry the past with us, right? In the past, we have zero control over that anymore, but it takes control over us, right? So that book is all about learning to live in the present and appreciate the moments that you have that you can actually control at the moment in time, right? You can pick up a pencil, you can do, there's things that you can literally do why at this moment, right? So I thought that was a really good read.
There's
And
a
it had
there's a
a good message.
There's a really cool, saying. It's yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift. That's why they call it the present.
Oh, I like that. I do like that little jingle right there.
Yep.
She's a t-shirt maker, but I know
Yeah.
I know that one's probably not yours, but that was a good one.
No.
Sheesh.
There's another one too, which is more appropriate for our audience. If you have one foot in yesterday and one foot in tomorrow, then you're pissing on today.
I like that one too. All
There
right.
you go.
Well, we're going to go ahead and do what we normally do for our show. We're going to give a little love to a fellow podcaster out there. And due to the fact of being on the tip of the spear, uh, that is a great networking opportunity for veteran podcasters to just come on there and get an opportunity to meet a whole bunch of other like-minded individuals who have missions of their own, and they're all out there doing their own podcast. And like I said before, for us, there's no competition against our brothers and sisters out there who are doing the exact same things as us. You never know what you can get from the different audiences, the hosts that are hosting the shows, things like that. But Rich LaMonica has been doing the Misfit Nation for some time now. Awesome dude. He is very much into the veteran community, all about helping his brothers and sisters. Just an all around awesome dude. And look at right there, 2021 Best Society and Culture Podcast, a Veteran Podcast Awards, 2022 Top 40 Over 40 Podcast Magazine. So he's been out there doing some amazing things. You can go check if you go to his website, www.themisfitnation.com. Right there, you'll be able to go see his website. And right there, he has all the different places you can go listen to his podcast. Apple, Spotify, Castro, Amazon, TuneIn, all those mainline ones that they kind of everybody has their shows on. So go show him some love. It is free 99 just to go show him some love and go listen to a different flavor, different way of podcasting. He stands up a lot, like on his show, like they'll pretty much like it's about an hour long. And Marie, you've been on his show too, right?
Yes, I was just gonna say, feel free to go look for my episode on his show. He is just an amazing, amazing person, and they are really doing some great things. The interview was fantastic. He is so energetic. He does his cart talk every week where he's
Yes.
on his golf cart and just kind of updating on the interviews for the week and shout outs to people. And he is so super supportive of the rest of the veteran community. And he's also involved with Homefront Sit Rep with doing the podcasting class over at the Challenge America Cav Arts program. So if you are interested in learning about podcasting from some amazing giants in the veteran podcasting community, go check out Challenge America cavarts.com. So it's the program is called Challenge America, and then the specific veteran program with the podcasting is Cav Arts. So go check it out. They're awesome. And yeah, he's also been a huge advocate with the Tip of the Spear podcast. Again, like Bryan said, it is a podcast for veteran podcasters and just a huge, awesome, supportive community. And amongst, Bryan has said this before, and I know he's planning on touching base on it later, but amongst the hell that some veterans give each other, these guys here at Misfit Nation are showing just love and support to the veteran community as a whole. And I just think that it's beautiful what he's doing.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Rich. He's Army veteran, and just all around good dude. Just like Marie said, he's just out there making a difference in our community, and all around great dude. So keep pushing, keep being one of the great podcasts out there, brother. And we thank you so much. And All right. So let me get rid of this. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and give Marie the floor and let her do what she do and give us one of her amazing poems. And I'm going to go ahead and peek on out and give her that opportunity. Here you go.
Hello again, guys. Just a reminder that my book is available now at sliderbabe.com. It is a book of poetry about recovery from trauma and addictions. And I'm currently working on my second book, and I am going to be sharing with you. I'm not sure if I've shared this poem here or not, but in my book, I've got a poem called Just Right, and this poem is again just right. And so it's just another I love writing. Writing is something to me that is just such a huge passion. I do journaling every day and I write my poetry. I've written songs, written stories, I've written essays and stuff like that. And I just love to write. And so it's something. And then I have on here my shirt, Your Story Matters, right? Because writing and sharing your story is so super important. So, anyways, this one just kind of highlights part of what my brain goes through when I am writing. So, again, just right. Just right. The voice in my head screams as I pick up a pen. Just right. The paper calls to me every now and then. My passion for words fills up the page, though I don't know what will come. Most of the time, I write for me and not for anyone. Sometimes the words don't make sense the way that they are laid. Then I have to mix them up. Before I know it, a story is made. A parable may be the end result, a short fiction, or a poem. Sometimes it's just the thoughts I hear when I'm alone. Things that wind up on the page, maybe words out loud, not said. More often than not, these things I write will never even be read. I write them still, not focusing on the audience out there. Whenever I take time to write, it's the only time I feel fair. There's freedom when the pen starts going and when there is no filter. I sometimes even make up phrases like a wibble wobble tilter. It's crazy how a simple phrase can sum up all my thoughts. Like, my brain feels like it's been invaded by millions of nanobots. I can word things like a child's voice that many can understand, or word them like a symphony, sounding different without a band. Writing for days, I may never fully express myself, or I can write a line or two, putting the page back on a shelf. If I get stuck yet want to write, I say a prayer inside. Then a voice, quiet and strong, helps the fear subside. When the writing is inspired from the power from above, it tends to be riddled with hope and redeeming love. When those writings do get finished, I share them with care. I know sometimes my hopeful messages to others I must share. Writing calms my brain, organizing all my thoughts. If I keep them in my head, they feel like a bag of rocks. Sometimes I get overwhelmed and my brain starts to freeze. As I continue writing, my mind feels at ease. I'll say again as before, if your brain's like mine, please continue to just write. You will be just fine. If no one ever reads a page and the story is for you, hopefully writing things can make you feel anew. To share or not to share, that will be your choice. At least for a brief moment, you gave yourself a voice.
All right. Thank you. Another great one by Marie. We appreciate you. And you guys go get yourself a copy of her book. And you can have her art, not just by what she writes, but her pictures as well. She has some amazing photos out there. All right, so a couple of topics that I would like to kind of cover today. It's just Marie and I. We had a guest, but I think the reason that I'm get the topic that we're going to kind of get into might have a little bit of the reason as to why our next guest maybe not able to be with us today because we were supposed to have a guest. And I'm not going to name the guest, but is this Iran war, right? I just want to talk about. I don't want to get so like political with it. I just want to talk about the facts and how it affects. I think the mental from a veteran, from someone who also went over to the Middle East and has a little bit of some understanding. When it comes to Iran in the Iraq war, they had significant interference with that war, and Iran was responsible for taking over. I want to say, I think the numbers were around 600 or more American soldiers. Um, so but that was 20 years ago. Um, the whole thing, right now is we're over there due to the nuclear threat, and that's somewhat what we're hearing of. There's a mixed bags of nuts. When we go into war, the narratives start to spin out, and then you start to lose understanding of what we're doing. So I'm not really here to discuss neither here nor there. I'm more or less here to talk about how this impacts the troops, the ones that end up ultimately affecting, right? And then it trickles down and affects family members who watch their sons, their daughters get deployed. And some of them, they have no clue where they're going, right? And some of them aren't even going right there into Iran or nothing. But a lot of these people, we do have a lot of bases already in Kuwait, which is a surrounding area. And I imagine we got a lot of presence in Iraq again, and to that nature. So, and my daughter is dating a Marine, and he just got out January. January was his EAS, right? So he's technically on his 4 years inactive. There's always that possibility that he can get reactivated during his 4 years. Now, the concern that I have is we're on day 38 of this war since the first launch. This was kind of supposed to be a really quick one. I think they envisioned they were going to go in there just like they've done with Venezuela and everybody else, and just kind of, Iran is a complete different beast. And to tell you that they hate the Western civilization, that's an understatement. They've been all raised from the time of death. We are the infidels, man. We are complete infidels to these folks. They will. I'm pretty sure these people will fight to the death. So I don't know what the end result is for this. I just have a big concern that this is going to be another 20 plus year war that we're going to be involved in. And then what does that do to the constraints that we already have here in our states, right? We already have the label of 22 a day, and some of us know that's just a label, that's a number. It could be a lot higher in some aspects. And now that this is going to happen, right? And the other part about this is with social media influence more now today than it was when in the early 2000s. There wasn't this whole social, there wasn't, yes, there was like MySpace and things like that, but it was never to the degree that we have now. There's so many different platforms, right? And now there's so many different narratives out there. So now you have these troops out here who have been a part of watching all this, and they're feeling the tempo and everything. And there's a lot of them that I'm seeing that don't even want to be involved in this war. And now they're all on social media platforms saying that, right?
Well, and
And
you also have the people who are struggling with, like, There's a lady that I know. She's in a brand new marriage. Okay. Right after they got married, her husband got deployed and he is over there right now. And they have not, because it's so new, because it's so unknown. They have no idea how long he's going to be there. So they put a specific number on their orders, and I guess this
Mhm.
specific number says, "Hey, it could be this long or it could be longer." Right? I can't remember what the number was, but it basically says we don't know how long you're going to be there. So she doesn't know if he's going to be there for a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year. She has no idea and neither does he. And so she's feeling super like uncomfortable and she's like, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to prepare for. Because like at least for when I deployed, they're like, "Hey, you're going for a year." And I was like, "Okay, I already know this." I was already prepared. My family was prepared that I was going to be there for a long time. But these families and service members now, they have no idea what to prepare for. And some of these are brand new soldiers who have no idea what to expect, and they're just the hurry up and wait. It's like, get over there. Okay, now you're just waiting to see how long you're going to be there, and you have no idea. I can't imagine that stress that puts on the service member and the families because she was struggling and she's like, I can't, she's here by herself. It's a new marriage. They just got stationed here, and then he got deployed right after. And so she has no family here hardly, and so she decided to take some time just to go home to visit, because she's like, I don't know what to do and I don't know how long. And so I just can't imagine some of the other people who are going through the same thing. And it's affecting multiple generations because you've got the parents that don't know what to expect, you've got the spouses and the children that don't know what to expect, and the service members themselves.
And you know what? That also brings up a little bit more of my point. With the amount of social media influence now, right? You're seeing veterans out there telling their stories, their nightmares, the atrocities that they got to deal with, right? And now you got moms of America watching all these people on TikTok talk about this shit, and Jimmy or Jenny's getting, sent over now to this war zone. And I'll be honest with you, Iran is not Iraq. Okay. I will give them a little bit more credit when credit is due. They're a little bit more of a powerhouse. They have a lot more weaponry than Iraq did. Iraq was kind of a walk. We got fucking planes getting shot down over, right now. They don't even got very many ground troops in Iran right now because they have not secured it enough to bring in ground troops without the ground troops getting absolutely destroyed. So that's the concern. Now, when I'm reading this and I'm looking into it, and so my wife, she works with a Navy. She's a female. She's in the Navy, and she's a reservist. And she just got word that she might be getting activated, and she already is getting ready to do a whole exercise and everything. So if they're starting to call in that, when you start hearing the word stop loss, you start hearing the word activating reservists units, that's a tall tale sign that this is going to be little bit of a lengthy war. And then if you hear draft, then you hit the button of panic a little bit. And I don't know. I don't know
There
what
there's
I don't know what our world would do if they did call a draft.
I just want to say right now, there is a lot of rumors and speculation that they are
Yes,
getting ready to do the draft. No, they aren't yet. There is no proof. There is no anything. So if you're worried about a draft, let it go for now.
I've had to keep
Like
telling my daughter the same
all
thing,
hell has to really, really break loose for that to happen.
and
So
that's what I
no,
told my
they are not
daughter.
doing that.
That's why I said hit the panic button if we did that, right? Because
Yeah.
at that level, and
And
then not only
it won't just be speculation at that point. Everyone will know about it. So if you're
oh
hearing rumors, you will know if a draft is called. The entire world will know if a draft is called.
So I think what is happening, right, is people are getting super confused with the selective member service portion where when you turn 18, you have to go, you are supposed to go sign up for the selective service member thing from 18. If you're 18 to 26 years old, they just passed this thing December of 2025. So that's why I think a lot of people are getting the speculation they're going to draft little Jimmy or Jenny. But the thing is just like Marie said, if we hit that level, oh my gosh, because a lot has to happen, right? So the first thing that you would hear, right? And I don't even think this has happened yet, but I would have to go confirm. I can easily confirm it with my soon to be son-in-law. But I don't think stop loss has occurred yet. But when stop loss starts to happen in the military, that will show you that there is ramping up. They're going to be ramping up. And the thing about this is we have to be proactive about this. This is not a very close war. So they have to have a plan B already in place. So they have to start deploying the troops out there. There's going to be a mass of deployed troops. You're going to see that. You're going to hear it on the news. You're going to keep hearing this and that. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything yet, guys. We can't, we don't, it's not a overnight access just to get to where they need to be. Okay. It definitely takes some time and to get from there to there, and a lot of coordination and there's a lot of gear that has to be taken into perspective. So, and I got to imagine that we are somewhat stacked up a little bit already for it. And I mean, I'm not going to go into details because at this point in time, it's probably not good to talk about certain things that had happened, because I do imagine they're going to be doing a little bit of some, there's going to be some repeats. But, I really hope for the sake of our men and women that this isn't a drawn out 20-year war again. I don't know if our infrastructure here in the U.S. can even handle that, right? They just did that stupid ass pullout, right? And all this stuff, and kind of got us out of there from that whole region. And I know we're never out of there, right, guys? There's always a skeleton crew left behind, but now they're going to be sending back the full force. And like I said, I just hope this isn't just another long drawn out thing. Cause at least I think for this iteration of Warriors, there's going to be a better chance for them at least to have the support that we didn't necessarily have when we were all getting out. Right. And I think there's a lot more awareness of what they're going to go through. I think that the VA systems and everything else like that should be way more geared up to support these men and women. And hopefully they're not fighting when they get out. Hopefully a lot of this stuff's already happening prior, because this is, I'm telling you guys, whether they go complete into a combat zone or not, once they activate war, it changes this when you're in there. And for the parents at home, it changes them too, because they're scared as shit and they hear all this bullshit, like fake news all the time.
So it's actually like perfect timing that all of this is happening, because there are some amazing things going on in the veteran community right now, as we are setting up programs and setting up resources for service members who are transitioning and for other veterans and whatnot. It's kind of perfect because I'm gonna bring up, there is a new program that's out that I've recently been introduced to, called Combat Veterans of America, and they are a newer program that has just kind of started. Shout out to them; they are amazing. They are working on developing, their goal is to develop posts like the VFW and American Legion. Their plan is to set up posts like that in all the major cities where it's a one-stop shop for service members to come
Mm.
to. And you go there and they'll have VSOs, they will have resources for education, they will have information on how to do your disability and healthcare. They will have all of the resources for the local nonprofits. And it's really super, super exciting. And I am actually working with them right now. I am in the I am in I started something that I call the Veteran Database Think Tank. Okay. And so far I've got about 10 different organizations, which I'm super excited about, that have decided to join me on this little think tank. And we are discussing the possibility of getting some database that is available for service members when they get out, to that has all of the resources, access to all the resources by state and by federal. I don't know where it's going to go or how far it's going to go, but so far we've got a little bit of traction, which I'm just super excited. But we've got just a lot of, anyways. But the plan is to just have this database that everybody can access and say, hey, I'm getting out. This is the state that I'm going to be going to, and here is the resources. So there, and I know that I'm not that we are not the only ones that are working on this, you know.
Flutter emails with your guys' nonprofit organizations or
Yes.
any veteran support groups that you guys are aware of. Flutter. Marie's
Yes.
email,
Yes.
Marie at
Send them
sliderbabe.com.
send them to us. But I know that we're not the only ones having this conversation, you know, and it's really exciting because like I've been talking to the Utah Department of Veteran and Military Affairs, and they've been working, and I know the other states are working on getting resources available to those active duty members. Now there's some sort of miscommunication that is going on with that, because from what the Utah department said, they are sending the resources to the active duty stations, but for some reason that information is not being trickled down all the time. And so the hope is that with this database or other programs that are out there doing similar things, is that the service members themselves get the access to these resources, because there's so many resources out there. So if you are deployed, or if you're getting deployed, or if you're a family member of a deployed person, start looking into some of the local nonprofit organizations that are set up for veterans and military and first responders, because there are so many available. There is no excuse to be alone when you get back from deployment or when you get out of the military anymore. There's no excuse. There are so many other organizations that are out there. And we've talked about this before, and I'm going to shout it at the rooftop. Okay. When you are in the military, when you go from one duty station to the other, you don't hold on to the other duty station. You don't say, well, this is how my old company did it. This is my old company did it. No, you incorporate
Some
yourself
people do that though.
into, yeah, but the only way that you can survive is if you say, this is the unit I'm in now. Let
Yep.
me incorporate myself into this unit. What is my role in this unit? Well, when you get out of the military, you can't hold on to this is what it was in the military. You have to incorporate yourself into your new unit, which is the veteran community. So if you are in the military thinking about getting out, make sure that you are contacting your state department. Make sure that you're contacting the VA hospitals. Make sure that you are contacting the VSOs, or whoever it is that you need to contact, and get involved with the veteran community before you get out, because most of them will open their arms wide open to you while you're still in, so that you have a cushion when you get out. There's no excuse to be alone anymore. We have so many resources out there now.
Yep. And the taboo, I think, that's I think when you're active, a lot of times you look at like veterans and you're just like, oh, look at those guys that wear the hats. And, like, but eventually you'll become one of us, you know what I mean? And you, whether you think it or not, you can play that cool guy shit while you're in. I know a lot of times there's so many guys while they're in, they act like they're not in. And then when we get out, man, you know what I mean? Like just, just like, yeah, I was in shit. Yeah. I'm, super prideful, but we got to change. We got to change the way things have been before. It just wasn't working. We have too many brothers and sisters taking their lives, and that's why I love that we've had these shows, and I think there's an opportunity to tell you family members out there, if you're watching this, if you know someone who's deploying and you know that their mom and dad stressed out, send them these shows and stuff. Let them understand what there's support out there for their daughters or their sons when they come back, more than we've had before. And we all are aware of this. I know. I'm knowing in the next year or two, we're going to be having another floodgate of veterans coming back with war wounds. And a lot of us that have experienced to some degree in life, we kind of will be able to relate a lot more than they've had in the past, right? And we've gotten to the level of starting to learn how to be more comfortable with talking about all this stuff and getting it out there. But I think this is a great time for a segue to our next break. We're going to do a veteran showcase as we do. This next one, I love this guy. I've had him on the show every day to Saturday, USMC veteran. His name is Sal Gonzalez, USMC veteran, lost his leg in combat, and just an all around dude. I mean, he could have allowed his injury and everything to define him and be a different person. But I mean, I'll tell you what, he has not allowed his leg to limit him at any cost. So let's go ahead and give some love to this guy, Sal Gonzalez. This is one of those songs. It's gonna probably hit you a little bit in the feelings. It's called Heroes, and it is a great one. So Marie and I will disappear, and we'll let you guys listen to the song. And let me get this going. All right.
They threw him a party the day that he got home. Oh, and they called him a hero, but he felt all alone, surrounded by his family and all his friends but one. Oh, he lost him in that country to a buried roadside bomb. When his dad stood up and said, our hero has returned, he looked down at his scars and his purple heart and said, Dad, you know that hurts, 'cause that told me it's to not sound grateful, 'cause the good Lord knows I am for sparing me my life on the day he took my friend. But I still wish that I had gone with him, maybe even took his place. Oh, but destiny didn't lead me that way. So I'm not trying to say you're wrong, but heroes ain't the ones who make it home. He said Danny had a daughter he'll never get to see, and I know that he was proud. He was only 23. They gave me this medal, pinned it on my uniform, but this piece of tin don't mean a thing. No, if it can't bring them home. So I told me it to not sound grateful, 'cause the good Lord knows I am for sparing me my life on the day he took my friend. I still wish that I had gone with him. Maybe he even took his place. Oh, but destiny didn't lead me that way. I'm not trying to say you're wrong, but heroes ain't the ones who make it home. Don't need to not sound grateful, 'cause the good Lord knows I am, for sparing me my life on the day he took my friends. But I still wish that I'd gone with them. Every day I'd take their place. Oh, my destiny didn't lead me that way. I'm not trying to say you're wrong. Yes, 'cause heroes ain't the ones who make it home. No, heroes ain't the ones who make it home.
Of course,
Whew.
you had to make me cry my eyes out.
Yeah,
is a
that one is
beautiful song.
yeah, that one hits the feelings. Sal experienced a lot in his tour, so um it's wild watching him. He is literally half the man he is now. He's lost so much. We didn't even recognize him in that video. But what a tribute to his fallen brother. He's lost, and the other guys that he had there are his dudes, you know what I mean? That experienced the loss too. So it was really amazing that he was able to kind of put it into a music video and bring memory to the lost ones, because there's a lot of heroes that didn't make it home, and there's a lot of people like him who have survivor's guilt, and as you heard there, he sometimes wished he would have took his place, you know, and so it's just that is the very god awful part about war, right? Is it changes you and can change you physically, definitely changes people mentally, but it could definitely change your entire life. And it's up to you to take however that affects you. And you can either live in the sorrow of it all, or you can outshine it all. And I feel like that's what Sal's taken it. And he's living for his brothers that didn't make it home.
And
And
he's giving a voice to a lot of people because
100%.
just the way that he explains that, is just so perfect, because that survivor's guilt is so real. It's so real. I have experienced it. I know, Brian, you've experienced it. Like, that is something that is so powerful that a lot of people don't understand. But I think that it's beautiful the way that he worded that because, yeah, that's going to give a lot of people a voice who need it.
Yeah, that is a very powerful song. And like I said, with the current events going on and stuff, unfortunately, loss is part of war. We've already lost several service members already. And now that training's got to intensify as well, there's a lot of injuries that happen just within training, so very much a lot of mixed emotions. And that song right there just kind of
Yes.
took me back for a second. Whew. But
No,
something that
I
uh,
was just gonna say, I think that that was just wonderful, and that goes along perfectly with the poem that I read earlier. Just write, guys. If you have something that is weighing on your heart, just write because you never know who you're going to affect with your writing. And that's what Sal did. Is he wrote what he was going through, and it's so powerful, and that's going to help so many people.
yeah, that's one thing that I've just found extremely valuable. I was once a part of this organization called Veteran Voice Radio, and since then it's changed. But it was a radio station that played nothing but veterans, female, male, and even family members of veterans too. But that opened my eye to like the amount of talent that this veteran community has, right? And the just the way that these men and women took their experiences, wrote about them, and turned them into these amazing songs. And I get it. The genre probably doesn't hit a large population of people, because not a lot of people can relate to these songs. But for the ones that do, boy, I tell you, it just hits the dinger, and if you listen to the actual lyrics of some of these songs, it will, oh man, that one, I tell you, I told you that one hits the feelings for me. Um,
Well, and I think it's perfect too. It's kinda cool that you played that because, I know that there is a lot of benefit to this AI music, right? Like, even our beginning thing was
sure.
AI music, and there's
Yeah.
benefit to that. Even though they're my lyrics, it's an AI song, right? But amongst all of this AI stuff, I think that it's beautiful that there are still people who are out there genuinely writing the music and
It
keeping
makes it so much
keeping
more
music
pure like that,
alive.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what you were saying, yeah, it may not hit, 50 billion people, but it's going to hit about 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, whoever it is that it needs to touch. That is, and maybe a whole lot more, maybe less, who knows. But that song, like for me, it touched me, and if I'm the only person that it touches, that means that that made a difference to somebody's life. And that is how music does is music and writing and our podcast and any of the art forms that you have. Like I specifically write in my book, like, don't write like my intro to the book, right? Don't write for the majority. Write for the minority, because there may be just one person that you help that day.
So,
Focus on that. And
yeah.
so that is where the true beauty of an art form comes, is how it affects an individual, not the majority. And I think that it's beautiful.
And one thing that I could appreciate that he did is incorporate his brothers in the actual music
That
video.
was
He didn't go out and get like actors and actresses, um made it extremely authentic and very intimate, right?
and
Like
relatable,
correct.
because it
Yes.
was like I just saw me hanging out with my veteran buddies,
Right.
or my active duty buddies. Like I just saw, like, just myself hanging out. And that was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that so much. So the next topic that we're going to kind of talk about a little bit is kind of something I want to address that only if you kind of pay attention into the social media realms and stuff like that. Now, I'm not an avid TikTok person, but I do find that as a place where you can do a lot of networking, connecting with a lot of veterans. Um, and it's just another place that I use to get the podcast out and stuff like that. But one thing that you can find useful or toxic between the different groups you may go and find here, but there are a lot of groups that have they're on the live and they just keep bringing everybody up. And I think you can have, around 9, 10, I don't know how many people you can have on these panels, but it can get extremely large. Now, sometimes you'll watch them and you're like, man, this is a really good veteran chat. There's a really healthy topic going on and good dialogue going back and forth. But then sometimes you'll go and you'll find these ones where they are just roasting each other, not banter, and it's not banter, and it isn't that military funny banter. It is literally going for each other's throats. And then it's the threatening of doxing each other and stuff like that. Now, the issue that I have here, and this is, it's not really for me to say this, what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. Every veteran is allowed to do what they want to do. But as a fellow veteran who watches this, sometimes it is extreme turnoff to see my brothers and sisters bickering about the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life too, right? And then we get these people who get a hard on because they deployed. And then there's the combat, non-combat, deployed, non-deployed, MOSs, and then it just starts going. It gets wild. It just gets extremely wild. Now, something I don't think anybody in there is thinking about because they're just so intimate and fired up because, I imagine every single person on that damn panel is got something going on upstairs. And you put them all in the same room and they're just like, they really want to chew each other's freaking eyes out, and then you got someone who maybe is just new, just coming in and starting to, like we're, looking out and like starting to feel comfortable and want to start connecting with the veteran population again. And then you have this whole thing going on. For me, it's a turnoff immediately. Sometimes I'll listen and I'll watch it for a second to see what the fuck are they even bickering about. And then you're like, oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. Right? And some of them are on there annihilated drunk, making zero sense whatsoever. And some of them are just on the buzz portion where they're like, they're enough drunk that they got that liquid courage going on and they're just blah, 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 and it's wild to me to see how toxic it could be. You can go from one chat room to another and you're like, one is extremely good. And it's like kind of like barracks talk and they're just having a lot of good jokes and talking about experiences. Another one is just, they're just getting like they've maybe hung out with each other too much. I don't know what happens, but I got to say, we got to do better. And especially now that we have these opportunities to be in front of the public, it's not just our community who watches these guys. There's a lot of dads, moms, brothers, sisters, just the, normal people just kind of going through and they're like, is this how these guys act? And this is our military. You know what I mean? And yeah, we're making ourselves look like some straight dog ass, man. I mean, I don't know. I think everybody has some toxic traits in their communities, but for us, I feel like it's almost, I'm not going to lie, it's almost 50-50 sometimes with some of these groups. And that's an ugly number.
Well, I'll say one of the best ways that I have seen people combat that is just don't participate.
Yep.
There's
That's what
there's
yep.
something there's something that a lot of people don't know. If you are playing a game of volleyball or tennis, you don't have to hit the ball back. You don't
Yep.
have to. And so if you feel like somebody is sending shots at you, you don't have to return the volley. You
Yeah,
can
don't
let
act like
the
someone's
ball
sitting there
drop.
like, all
You
right,
you can just
Marie got one.
yeah, you just
Brian
let it
won.
go.
Yeah.
You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to let your ego, and that is where all of this stems from, is ego. I'm either better than you or I'm better at being worse than you. Okay. And that is pride and ego, right? I'm better than
Right.
you or I'm worse than you. And I'm worse than you means that I am better at being worse than you. Okay. And so that is where all of this stems from. When somebody says something that triggers somebody else. Okay. Instead of just letting it drop, they're like, oh, I'm triggered. Now I have to go into defense mode. No, you don't. Just let the shit go. Like pretend like somebody just splashed water on your face and let the water drip down and just continue on with what you have to say. But where it gets dangerous is you get two egos that start going after each other. And you really can just let it go. You really can just let it go. Or you can walk away, or like I've had conversations where somebody will say something to me and I'm just like, I'm not participating in this, and I'll walk away because that doesn't serve me. It does not serve me, and it doesn't serve you, and the reality is the person who is starting the crap talking or whatnot, it's because they're feeling insecure and they're feeling unheard or they're feeling unimportant. And so if you can just like give them, concern and validation, be like, "Oh, I'm sorry that you feel that way. It sounds like somebody really hurt you. Oh, I'm sorry that you feel like it sucks to hear this. It sounds like you have some struggles that you're going through. Can you talk to me about it?" And that changes the dynamic so flipping quickly. You can be like, "Oh, that kind of hurt. Like it sounds like you're feeling hurt and attacking me. Can we talk about this a little bit?" You really can change the dynamic. You don't have to participate in those kind of conversations. And if you're not in the mind space to have that kind of conversation to split the script, then just walk away. All right, I'm done with this conversation. See you later.
Yeah, and if you're new to kind of reconnecting to the community, just be aware, not that not all veterans are the same, and some are more welcoming than others, and some of them are just bitter Betsies. I don't know what you want to call them, but they're just super mad at life. And
Or they're just hurt. Like it
yeah,
might not
yeah.
even be anger. Like most
Misery loves
anger,
company. So
most anger is based out of fear and hurt. Because that's what it is. They're feeling unseen, unheard, or unprotected. Those are the top 3: unseen, unheard, unprotected. And because of that, they are fearful. And so instead of showing that they're fearful, you've got a mama bear with her cubs, right? She's like, I've got to protect these cubs. And so now I'm gonna attack, right? Because she's scared that you're gonna hurt her cubs. And that's what it is with veterans. It's like, hey, you just touched my cub that's inside, that is very vulnerable and scared. And I can't let you see that because I'm scared that you're gonna hurt that. And so I'm gonna attack you.
yeah, I mean, it's just an unfortunate part that I've learned. I know that I think you have to, the social media stuff, right? Like TikTok and stuff, that was new for me. I had no fucking clue when I first got involved in it. My daughter had been doing it, and stuff like that, but I had no idea what it was or what. So it's almost like you got to learn how to act on these things now, right? Like there's a little bit of some etiquette. I think that starts. There's a learning curve that comes that you kind of start to learn. Like, and I've learned not to engage on stuff that's gonna bother me, right? And it's gonna take some mental space that it shouldn't, and it doesn't warrant, and I should not allow, right? So now I'm very familiar when I am scrolling on these places, like, all right, I know this talk is toxic, right? And I've already watched people come on that panel and just get toxic. And then watch the host talk about other people and stuff. So you start to get familiar with who the toxic ones are in the community, right? Shit floats. I don't give a shoot. Shit floats at some point in time, and you're going to find out the ones that are just, they start to stink, right? And some of these clowns out there are stolen valor fucks. And I'm not talking about lying about whether they actually joined, because a lot of them have. I'm talking about lying about what they did while they were in lying. Like, we got to go in here and lie and make tally marks. I'll tell you, bro, most of us, anybody that you talk to who's been a veteran and is a real veteran and served, and you have a true conversation, at some point in time, they're going to catch your bullshit. And I know that happens a lot. Let them talk long enough. Let them talk long enough. They will sink themselves with their stolen valor. Because you know what? You're going to meet a subject matter expert at some point in time who was your MOS or whatever, and they're going to be like, this son of a bitch is a lie, bro. So I just actually got sent, and this is where I don't like, right? There's this Marine that is a 0311. He's become very popular in the social media realm. And he's openly talked about being against the war, Iraq war, and all this stuff. And he's talked a lot about his mental health and shared a lot of pictures. I think he's a Purple Heart recipient. But now someone forwarded me in Messenger a whole thing of this dude is like he's some scam. I was like, what? In stolen valor? I'm like, oh my gosh. So I don't know if it's true or not. I've legit seen photos of the dude over in Iraq and everything like that, which, I mean, these were before AI. He's been around for a long time. But now all of a sudden I'm seeing he's getting attacked. And I don't know if it's from the community, and I don't know if it's true, if it's not. Now I have to go do all this homework and see, like, is this guy been lying to everybody this whole time? And I think that what also happens is that these popular influencers end up getting hacked, and then they get cloned. Their accounts get cloned, and then they start asking for money, and then people are like, whoa, why is this guy? Because it happened to me. It happened to Everyday Saturday. So
Yep.
I know it happens, and especially for these people who have a lot of followers and stuff like that. But, all I want to say at the end of the day is just be careful, right? And don't allow some of the toxicity that you see in the community make you want to leave it, right? Because there's times where I've even questioned it, like, gosh damn, bro, I don't know, man. It's gotten me so mad, right? But I've learned how to navigate it better, right? And not allow this to bother me. And I'm just going to continue with our mission and what we got going on, right? And I want to praise and give other people the credit, like, and try to be a cheerleader for others. Whether they're doing the same art as us or not, we still want to show them love. And I'm trying to show the community that it's okay for us to cheer for our fellow brothers and sisters. It is okay, right? And let's go follow and do all that stuff because it's free 99. But all right, Marie, I think we didn't really interrupt each other too much, and we didn't have any guests to interrupt. So,
yeah, true.
but I
Yeah.
want to tell you guys, as we're getting ready to exit, I know some of you guys might get irritated with us when we interrupt the guest, right? And we try our damnedest not to do that.
Well,
But I do believe that we're both excited personalities, right? We get a little excited, and then we also see opportunities. For me, this is where I struggle as a human. I can't hold on to shit long, right? It's like things come and go so fast, and then I'll be like, oh my gosh, I wanted to say something, and then I'm like, that's why I just started grabbing notes and taking notes.
Well, the reality is, like, our podcast, we don't ever have anything staged. We just have a conversation. And, like, if you've noticed, there's been a couple people who've been on here. They're like, "Okay, we've got a strict time frame." And then we start talking and we just have this conversation. They're like, "Oh, I already rescheduled this. Oh, I rescheduled this." We've had that happen a couple different times where people are like, oh, hey, like I was super nervous, but this is just a conversation. And so
Yeah.
that's the thing is like in real life, we interrupt each other. That's just kind of how it is. And so that happens on our show because we just have a discussion. We don't have any rules or regulations. And sometimes it's worse than others. But the thing is like I was re-listening to one from a while back and we were like really interrupting him a lot. And I sent the guy a message and I was like, hey, I'm so sorry, that we were interrupting. And he's like, dude, I don't like hearing myself anyway. So that was perfect. And so that's the thing is we just kind of go with the flow. So I don't know. I like what we're doing. And like if we ever get people who like aren't comfortable with it, then we try to calm it down. But the thing is we like to be raw and vulnerable. Like if you guys notice as well, we don't do any editing. Like, we just have discussions with people and whatever comes out, comes out. And so, if you wanna join, I'm gonna plug this, if you wanna come join and have a conversation with us with 2 imperfect people who just talk a lot, come to sliderbabe.com, come access, the podcast and come be a guest with us. Like, just have a real raw conversation with us. And sometimes I cry and Brian has teared up a couple times too, and
For
sometimes we
sure.
cuss and sometimes we have to pause because we have, issues with our technology. But, we just, every day's a Saturday here, right? Like
That's right.
literally,
I
like
love
we
that.
just
Yep.
talk, we just enjoy. We just try to be laid back. And, there's times that, like other people will be talking and I'll start dissociating. And you might have noticed that sometimes I just start spacing off because of my mental health stuff. And, that's okay too. Like, we are just raw and real here. So, thanks for
Absolutely.
joining us.
Yep. And if you like that, this is the place for you, right? Like we are as raw as it's gonna be. Um, you know, we are imperfectly perfect with what we do. And we have a little bit of a structure to the show. We kind of have a little bit of a format we kind of like to follow. But it is literally sometimes I don't even like to read about our next guest, and I mean, it's nothing against them and no disrespect, but it's because I like to be like informed, like as I'm like learning, like, oh, that's bad, you know what I mean? And then for me, it really sparks up because if I kind of go in knowing I'm already about like when I knew the Patriot missile, I would kind of read him. I read that and I was like, before we even got started, I was having a conversation with him in the back room, which we're losing content because I'm already like, oh, bro,
Yeah.
you were over there when I was, and I can really go, if you guys haven't noticed that by now. But yeah, been a lot of fun. I love it. Um, you guys, like we said, we're gonna do a lot more of this one-on-one. This was a great opportunity for us to kind of do this one. I think I might actually just drop this one this week actually. So you guys actually might see this now. So that because this is more about the current events and stuff that's going on, and then that kind of gives us a little bit more in the bank. But
Well, if you're gonna drop,
yeah, there you go.
yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
plug it.
So if this is dropping this week, then this is perfect. So if you are in Utah and can make it April 18th at 10 o'clock
Five
over
days,
at the yep.
5 days from now. But when we drop this, I'm gonna drop this on Thursday. So what's the date on Thursday?
So it'll be 2 days after that. But
16th.
over
Okay.
at the Hill Aerospace Museum. So it's just outside of base. If you can get there about 10 o'clock, 10 to 2, I believe. The Utah Department of Veteran and Military Affairs is having a wellness fair, and I will be having my book there. And
Get a
I would love
personally
to see
signed
you.
one.
Yes, a
I am.
personally signed one. And if Brian can get them to me before, I'm going to have some flyers for the podcast.
Yeah,
And
I'm struggling.
so,
I hate the way
yeah,
they look.
it's okay. But so try and go if you can, and we'll get you booked on the show if you want to, or I'll get you one of my own books. So let's do all the booking. Ha ha ha.
Woo, that was a good one. Who knew she's a jokester too? Shit.
Well, Brian was
Uh,
talking about dad jokes earlier, so I figure I had to throw some sort of dad mom joke there. So,
there we go. Love it. All right, guys. Well, once again, if you guys would like to be a part of the show, you could shoot me an email every day is a Saturday 365 at yahoo.com. And then I'm going to refer you to sliderbabe.com where you can go check out the calendar. Or if you would like to just reach out to Marie and, maybe you want a copy of her book, want to just have a conversation with her, give her an email at marie@sliderbabe.com. And we just once again thank everybody so much for and that reminds me, if you're watching the show even on Facebook, YouTube, because we are kind of dropping these now on Saturdays, like it for us, share it. It will help get this out into the algorithm, because they do not like healing out loud in the algorithm world. So let's say you and algorithm, and we'll change that. So anyhow, if you guys are listening on the audio side, if you have anything like Spotify, Apple Podcast, if you could just rate the show, it is free 99, and it will literally help us get ourselves out there as well. This isn't for Marie and I. This is for our guests. This is for our future warriors who will be coming home, family members, all those people that this could directly help and affect just by hearing some of these stories and some of these amazing people that come on and talk about how they transitioned out and the experiences they've had. And now they're out there being advocates, right? From PTSD to advocacy. Marie, do you have anything else to say?
I was just going to say, so you know, Thursdays, Bryan will post this on Facebook and other places, but on Saturday morning, it will premiere as a live event on YouTube. So check out both.
Yes, so that's good. I'll go ahead and kind of piggyback on what she said. Every Saturday from now on, I'm going to do, and I was kind of playing with time frames, but I think in about the 9:00 Pacific Standard Time, every Saturday, you will see the episode drop, and you can go over there, watch it live. And Marie and I try to show up inside the chats, and I'm hoping that usually we get the guests to come over as well, so that the way there's a little bit of some interaction. It is a pre-recorded show, obviously, but we'll try to be there, so that way it gives Marie and I the opportunity to really sit down and actually have an interaction with folks, where we wouldn't be able to do so much if we were actually live in the show. But boom. All right. So I think I said enough, and she's probably like, get the out of here by now. And so we'll get this on the road. Know how we say on the show, don't let the day kick your ass. Make sure you're out there kicking it. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.